which are really critical to us. There is our member network. There is the regional networks that we just spoke about. There are then the projects and the fundraising. Governance, we have an incredibly strong governance model as an international organization. And then there is the piece around influence, the marketing, the messaging, the collaborating, the innovating, the communicating, the rating, because we do know we all do like badges. We do like getting that green mark, platinum. We do like those kinds of things. And the educating and the advocacy. This is a mapping that we've done to the UN SDGs. You can see here that there are 9 of the 17, but please recognize we have influence on the other 8, but this is something where we see that these are core to the values and the delivery that World Green Building Council needs to deliver. The innovations in design and construction and within the supply chain that we're looking at are really critical to also recognition about the fabric and sustainability of our cities. Buildings make up cities. And that is the other piece that we start to make sure that we're taking care of. The idea of smart policies, the idea of sharing ideas, innovative technologies, and valuable business connections and partnerships that we can forge to make sure that our cities remain livable. And I think the idea that we're here for a force of good and change is something that we all can embrace together with the members such as the Singapore Green Building Council. So when we look at innovation and we look at what we're focusing on, I'm very big about thinking around the people and the planet and the profit, or as I say, return on investment and return on human capital. And this is something that we're constantly balancing and how we look at this and how we identify the people piece. And once again, when you look at now, when I think about when I was, a teenager in the 70s, and why is it now that Greta Thunberg and the climate strikers are getting such incredible groundswell and collaboration internationally? The internet and social media and the connectivity they have now have been able to forge us forward well beyond where we called climate deterioration pollution. And I think then when you look at the idea of the planet and how we actually look at programs and how we take care of it, and I'm really amazed to see a program that's already started that will launch on Earth Day 2020, and it is about getting 1 million sensors and data points globally for us to be able to connect. We know, as I talked about with the internet and with social media, when we connect, results happen. And so this idea to get 1 million sensors planted by next April is critical to our success. When we look at the idea of profit, the big investors coming to the table, big investors saying that environmental, social, and governance affect bottom line. When Larry Fink of BlackRock mentions that no longer can they look at the Harvard business model in terms of investing in oil and gas alongside leading-edge technologies because it's no longer capable to manage, and Shell saying by 2060 they're going to be out of the oil and gas business, that's when I think we're really going to see the acceleration of things moving forward. So we do know that technology enables, and I would say in my role as chair and having done a number of these conferences and traveled around the world, and how rapidly I'm seeing transformation and groundbreaking technologies, as well as the transformation of industries, as we just saw in the slides from Rolls-Royce Aviation. And I think we're looking at 3D construction, we're looking at modularity, there's so many different things we're seeing that can really help us improve that supply chain. The convergence of technology and digital solutions as well is growing tremendously over the years, and also that is helping to drive transformation. We're seeing artificial intelligence, sensors, integrated delivery processes or integrated design process that are shortening things and having more people collaborate versus a very linear process. We're seeing companies creating higher value and meaningful and actionable outcomes to better engage their customers and citizens. The design for manufacturing and assembly, DIFMA, and its associated technologies, the shift to prefabricated and pre-finished construction. Through DIFMA, we're also seeing a key shift from low-cost labor to skilled labor, comprising mainly owned technicians and engineers on the construction sites, drones. The BCA, I know, has identified DIFMA as strategic thrusts for its building and construction industry, the use of drones and robotics for construction administration and inspections and surveillance. All of these things are amazing, but they're only as amazing as us fluid-proofing and future-proofing our current workers. So we also have to make sure we focus on the people and that they are armed for where we're moving next. So the biggest challenge we face is actually not just taking action. So with leadership and partnerships, we've really been galvanizing action, and it's tied very much to the right partnership models. So we're there to inspire, excite, show what is possible, connect people, and lead the way. And I think the other part that we really want to focus on is breaking down the silos. I think I've been talking a lot over the couple of days at other events. We talked about Boys Club, and we've talked about Women's Lounge. And Women's Lounge is the concept that no woman works is in a competitive way. You are mentoring, obviously business is competitive, but you're mentoring others to help open up doors, and there's a real collaborative approach, and I think that's something that we need to see across all industries. And I think we need to make sure that we are really, really ready, and we have a call to action later this month being launched in Climate Week around embodied carbon, because we also recognize that of the supply chain, where 28% of the energy that buildings and construction produce are the supply chain of evaporation, but there's that embodied piece of 11% from extraction through manufacturing, packaging, transportation, to construction, to in situ, that is really important for us to focus on. So the regulatory incentives and advocacy pieces are very different globally, but is something that we know that works well and forces advocacy and education to occur. The regulations piece, we often hope that regulations are the lowest hanging fruit and that we're all trying to hit above that. And I think it's really important that we look at those drivers to drive change. I think this is just really looking at where we need to move from thinking about our words that don't mean something to action words, and that is a focus for us. So please join us in this quest, and as I said, I did point out Alan and Victoria in the crowd, so to please reach out to them as well for some help. Thank you.